and sit down.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Master the NEC, sponsored by Electrical Code Academy. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host as always, and I'm excited today because I am going to give you the reasons why our Fast Trax program is without a doubt the best electrical exam prep and National Electrical Code learning system on the planet. There's a lot of ways to study. Look, I get it. I've been a master electrician for over 30 years. Learning the National Electrical Code is extremely important. Again, not just to get past an exam, but to understand fundamentally how it's laid out and to use it in everyday life. So my focus when I teach, and again, I become your instructor. I become your mentor in learning the NEC, whether or not you've been doing this trade for 50 years or you just started. My goal is to teach you what you need to know about the NEC, but also to give you a resource to reach out and ask questions. There's always going to be pressing questions that you may have. And as a member of our program or a student, I am a resource for you to be able to bring those questions. So that's first thing and foremost is very important to me. Okay. Now, in the Fast Trax program, many people want to understand, what is it going to do for me? What is in this program? And if you're a student, I want you to watch this if you're just getting started into the program, because I'm going to walk you through how you do this program and what you need to utilize with it. Now, a couple things out of the way. If you're studying for an exam and you waited till the last minute and you have less than 60 days, this is not the course for you. It is way too much info. Now, you can purchase it at your own risk, and I'm sure it will help you. But it is not that type of program. It is not a crash course. It's not designed to teach you over a weekend. It's not something that you sit down and try to do every unit in a weekend. It's not what this course is about. You have access to the Fast Trax program for 1 full year. After a year, you have the option to do extensions, 6 months extension or even a year extension if you want, if you need it. Now, why would we do that? Because some people might be studying for their journeyman, and then once they get their journeyman, let's say in 3 months, they want to keep studying for their masters so they can keep going in the program, keep refreshing themselves, or it's always sitting there ready for when they want to. Plus, it constantly gives them access to some of the features I'll talk about later in this video that is only available to members in our program. Okay, so the focus here is to not only teach you the NEC to pass an exam, but the focus is for me to make sure that you truly learn something about the NEC that you can take with you out into the field. Okay. It's, a lot of times people will just get you past an exam. I'm not like that. You can like me, hate me, whatever you think of me outside of the educational world. Reality is my goal is to get you from point A to point B and that you retain that information. Okay, so with that said, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a quick rundown through the program, let you see what it is, let you see some of the features. And of course, if any questions come up that you want to ask, there's the email address right there at the top of the screen. Feel free to email us. If you want to find out more about the Fast Trax program, go to that web address up there, masterthenec.com. You'll see a link on there that says electrical exam prep, but you'll also see a link on there for our other courses. Again, we have residential, commercial, industrial, grounding and bonding. Tons of informational based courses that you can really learn from. Okay. None of our courses give CEU credits from the core material, although we do have CEU courses that are partnering with my CEU Depot, but our core courses are not CEU or PDU or designed to give credits for anything. They're informational courses. They're designed to teach you something so that you use it every day, not necessarily to qualify for any exam or anything like that. Our exam prep assumes that you already have the hours in the training, the hands-on, so that you can sit for an exam. That's what we're going to teach you. The other thing we don't do is we do not get into regulations per state. We do not get into the laws specific to any state. We do not teach fire alarm. We do not teach OSHA. We teach the National Electrical Code. That's it. That's all this program will do. Okay. And that's what I fundamentally designed it and wanted to do with the program, is focus primarily on the National Electrical Code. Okay, let's go to the program. Okay, so once you get in our program, this is a 2020 edition. Obviously, it's available also in the 2017 edition. We do not have a 2014. We do not have a 2011. We are focused on 2017 and beyond. So we have 2017. We have the 2020, and obviously we'll have the 2023 whenever that comes out, which we're constantly working on right now. So it's always every 3 years we're updating the code, so adding things to it, enhancing technology, correcting things that we might have done wrong previously or anything like that. It's a constant ongoing process. Okay. Now, once you become part of the Fast Trax program, you will get access to your own console. It looks slightly different than this because all of your stuff will be on the left, but everything here fundamentally, and you won't see the hidden and the edit and the add and create and all that, because that's what I use to embed additional content in here. So this is my view of it, but yours will be very similar, and all the sections and everything worked exactly the same. Now, in the 2017 versus the 2020, there's slight differences, but the concept's still the same. If you're a Fast Trax student, you go into section 1 and you work unit 1 until it's completed. You don't move on to unit 2 until you've done everything in unit 1, everything. So with that said, let's give a quick look into the unit. So here is the section 1, and let's see here. So we're going to go into it, and there you can see that this is broken down into units. Okay, the introductory unit, definitions, boxes, enclosures, cables, raceways, and conductors. It's done in a logical format for learning. You need to understand the basic concepts of definitions. They're critically important. Now, remember something about Unit 2. We're trying to teach you how to use not just the course material. We're trying to teach you how to use the code book. So Unit 2 is where we set our algorithm. And our algorithm means that when you go into here, you might have the reading material that we'll look at in a second, but you might have, when you do your competency review at the end, what we're doing is testing you not just on the reading material, we're testing you on the ability to put to work things that you've learned. In other words, how to go to Article 100 and look up definitions, because what we're going to do is we're going to give you some definitions that are not in the reading material, that the only way you would have gotten the answer is to go to the NEC. Okay, so while the course book's extremely important and you can get majority of all your information out of it moving forward beyond Unit 2, Unit 2 is where we set the algorithm. We want to make sure that you're going from the code book, from the course material to the code book and back and forth. That's what we're testing you on, and that's where we set our algorithm in our background so that we can see how the student's going to progress based on how they do Unit 2. So the cat's out of the bag, if you will, on how we do the algorithm and what we're looking for. And there's certain things that I have worked out over the last couple of years with students that we're looking for. And Unit 2 and Unit 1 kind of try to set that baseline for me. Okay. So anyway, so here's what you've got. And you're going to literally go through each unit. So first one, for example, Unit 1, I'm going to do the reading material. I'm going to do all of that material. I'm going to go through the study tools. If you have a folder, study tools, 2017 doesn't. It's just everything is there rather than being in a separate folder. I'm going to go over. Now, the overview is just kind of giving you an overview of Unit 1. You don't really have to do that one, but these flashcards you need to do. And once you've done everything in that folder, you will do your review. After you've done your reading material, you do the review. And then after you've done the review, you want to do the assessment. So the assessment sets the tone. Okay. Now, as you can see on the screen, 70% of the students in this portal, okay, we have them broken into different portals, different groups. This is one core group, and we allow up to 175 students in a core group. This one has 165, so it's only got 10 more core openings for this group that we would place a student in. But 115 of those students have done Unit 1. So there are students that just skip the reviews, and I'm not sure why, because that's where we grade it, and it should be. But again, I'm not telling you how to study, but you need to go through every one. If you want to see success, then you would. So 70% of our students in this grouping have done this unit, and their average score is 87.4%. That is over what we consider the magic number, and that magic number is 85%. Okay, so if you start getting 85% on all your unit reviews, then you're going to be very reasonably comfortable at exam time. Anytime you get below that, then you really should review it again. Okay, so you're going to go through Unit 1, you're going to do all the reading material and follow through all the materials. So let's look at Unit 1's reading material. So when you click it, now this can be viewed not just from a browser like this on a computer. You might be looking at this on your cell phone, on a tablet, or whatever you might be looking at. The key thing to remember here is that this is browser based. So again, it's going to adapt itself to whatever browser you're using, whether it's a tablet, but you can always go into your web browser and change it to desktop view if you want to see what it would look like on a desktop. Otherwise, it's going to change it to basically a browser view, so it might look slightly different because of the different device you're using. But the same material is here. You'll have your table of contents. You can always go back to the very beginning. And here, again, the reading material is giving you some history on the NEC. Why is that important? Well, you're getting into understanding the NEC. Again, remember, we said this is a learning platform. We are trying to give you knowledge that you can carry away and understand why code panels do what they do, why the NEC is important, why the NFPA is important. And again, it's part of our course, and we want to make sure that you're really paying attention to this material. But you don't just use the course material. You have the NEC that you're going to go to. And in the NEC, a lot of this historical information is in the very front of the NEC as well. So we're making sure that you're moving back and forth through the material. All right, so you go through, systematically read it. Real quickly, I'll give you another feature that most students don't know about is the ballistic training feature. And that is where I would just take it, left click, drag my mouse over it. So right here, let's say, and then you get a pop-up. Now this allows me to highlight. This allows me to make little notes. This allows me to make a flashcard if I want to make an instant flashcard. But one of the key features is the read text, okay, where it reads it to you. So I'm going to click that and you kind of get a feel for what we're talking about.
Just as an extensive education is required for doctors to perform the duties of their chosen field, a working knowledge of the NEC is a necessity for anyone practicing a profession in the electrical industry.
Okay, so as you see, you have the option for what we call the ballistic training, where you read it, you follow it. It's just something about it that helps you understand it. So students have that available. You also can change the size of the text depending on what device you're using. Maybe you want to make the text a little bigger, or you want to make it a little smaller, fit more on the screen. It's totally up to you. You can bookmark anything. So if there's anything in here that you want to see, that you want to come back to, maybe you're reading to a point you want to leave off and come back later, bookmark it. And then you can go over into your folder here, the study hub, and you can go back to any of your bookmarks. And we'll look at that in a second. Of course, you can print absolutely anything. So people ask me this all the time. If I want to print this screen, then I just click the print button and print it out if you want. You can print them all out if you want. That's totally up to you. You have that ability to do that. There is nothing that prevents you from printing anything, any graphic that you want in this program. It's totally up to you how you want to do it. Okay. So, oops, hold on. I opened up the wrong one there. So anyway, you move through, you scroll down, you move to the next window. The beginning talks about the history of the NFPA, what had happened, how it started, and you literally just move through the screen. It can't be any easier than this. Okay. So it talks about the different things. NFPA, it talks about every 3 years since 1975. That was the key time when it started to be permanently every 3 years. Okay, that's when it was. Before then, it was every year, or then every 2 years, and maybe every 3 years. It kind of jumped around, but once it got to 1975, it's been, ever since then, it's been ratified, revised, changed, updated every 3 years. Important information to understand. And again, you never know what's going to be on an exam. Now, graphics. As you can see, when we're talking about different formats, terminologies, and we're trying to set the tone here about the different tables, what they mean, okay? And you're obviously going to cover these when you get to that portion for branch circuits. But again, it really starts to show you that there's figures, there's diagrams, there's tables, and all of that is all running through. Formal interpretations, it talks about it. It even shows you how to break down and actually read the NEC. Look, that is so important to understand what parts are, what sections are, okay? What are mandatory rules, okay? What are informational notes? What does it mean when the text is highlighted in the code? All those type of things. What exceptions means? What's the little N in the margin mean? This is new material, okay? Permissive rules versus mandatory rules, okay? Shall not be required versus shall be required. Things like that. Critically important. Understanding what the bullets mean. Understanding what this information means. All of this stuff is critically important, okay? That you understand. Again, all this is print outable too. You can print it out at any time. And as you can see, we start to cover the NEC layout. So important. And people ask, why do I do Unit 1 this way? Because I could have blacked this out. I could have not included this. I have full customization on what we want to present to the student. And again, it covers all of the important chapters. I usually tell students, create flashcards on this type of thing. For example, if I wanted to create a flashcard in our program right now, I could take this and left click this and say that's chapter 1 and it's general. So I click it, add a flashcard. Okay, here it comes flashcard. I can put the chapter, let's see here, general requirements. Okay, so what I'm doing is creating a flashcard, and down here that's chapter 1 and it's general. Okay, so let me save it. Okay, so now let's go back to the material. Chapter 1, general requirements. Okay, so when I do the flashcards, I can click over here on flashcards and I can go into here and let's see here. See if I can find the next card. And see, you've got all these different flashcards. Hold on here. We'll keep going through all of these. And there's the one I made, general. Click on it, chapter 1. So you have the ability to create flashcards totally on the fly. Okay, you want to create a chapter 2, wiring and protection, then you highlight it. It will give you the ability to create a flashcard. I recommend students create flashcards for every chapter, for every important article, every important table, like the grounding and bonding tables, 250.66 for the grounding electroconductor sizing, 250.122 for equipment grounding conductors, so that you know that when you see 250.122, you know it's for sizing equipment grounding conductor. All these things are fundamental, and you've got unlimited amount of flashcards that can be made in this program. It's totally up to you, however you want to create them, okay? You've got this little flashcard down here, but I can create a flashcard on the fly anywhere by left-clicking, dragging it, and then choosing that option, okay? So you move through the program step by step. All right, now let's say that I'm right here, we're in Unit 1, and I've read to this point, and you're learning about different definitions and what they mean and everything like that. Let's say I want to get down to where I see this. See these little chevrons? So every student in our program, I will go on and highlight this because we're talking about it. So left click, drag it, I will highlight it. These chevrons are very important because you cannot find success by the course material alone. You have to use the NEC. The whole purpose here is to get you to be able to use the NEC. So when you see a chevron like that, what you're going to do is go to that part of the code. In this case, section 3 of Article 110. And in B, you're going to read it and you're going to really absorb that information because that's what you're reading here and you're confirming it within the NEC. So what we're doing is getting you to maneuver back and forth through the course material into the NEC. Fundamentally, we're not talking about you just sitting there reading the book and watching a DVD. We're trying to immerse you in the two. You might not realize it now, but as you get further on in the units, you'll see how this starts to make sense and you'll get that feeling of assuredness that you're really learning the information, okay? So that's how we go through it, and you literally come back to the material after you've gone to the code book and looked at the reference and come back. Now, let's say I stopped right here. I can click this bookmark. Remember now, it's 1.2a because I probably got a bunch of bookmarks here, but I'm going to click a bookmark right here. And then I'm going to close my program, let's say. Okay, so I've closed my program, but now I've come back and I want to get back to that material. I go over here to my study hub, which is right here. I click it. Now in the study hub, you'll see notes and highlights and you'll see bookmarks. If I click bookmark, then I can go down and say, okay, this was Unit 1. And there's what I highlighted, 1-2. I click on it. Now watch the left of your screen. It takes me right back to where I was. I can close that. I can take off the bookmark. It'll remove it from my bookmarks, and I can continue reading my material. If I highlight something like this and I want to add a note or I want to highlight it, it will also appear over in your study hub so that when you come to the Wednesday night sessions, the training sessions, you can open up your program and you can say, Paul, let's discuss this out of this part of the program because I just don't understand it. That's what I'm here for. So I guess I should tell you about that. I do live training with all of my students. You have access to me. Where do you get that anywhere else? That you're not going to pay a lot more, okay? I'm here for you. I'm here to teach you the NEC. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to be a resource for you. That's what's unique about our program. That's really what the cost of our program. And it's probably worth a lot more than what we charge. At least that's what our students tell us. But we're comfortable right now because ECA, or Electrical Code Academy, is subsidized right now. It does not have to be the main driver for the corporation. It's subsidized. And so I'm able to keep things very affordable and my time very affordable. Okay. So anyway, there you go. And you've got this one here. For example, if you can undo anything or whatnot, as far as your highlights, if you want. All right. So there's orange. Now, when it went to orange, for example, that orange right there, let's go over, let's just say this is in Unit 1. We'll go over to the hub and we'll go to highlights. Okay. And we have a bunch of information. See, I got 2 highlights and this is this one right here. And see where this says shared with students. So if I highlight something in our training, it will share this with everybody so that all of the students in the program will see something. So I rarely do that, but I interact the program allows me to interact with the students where necessary to teach core fundamental things if something they don't understand. And I use this sometimes during our Wednesday night sessions if necessary so that everybody's aware of these key things. Okay. I can delete that and remove it. And you see all these bookmarks that have been placed here that you can go right to it by a simple click. And you can do that yourself in this program. Okay. So you go through all the material. Now, once you complete all of the reading material, and I recommend that you read it multiple times before you submit your review. When you've done everything in this folder except your assessment, you're then going to do the review. Clicking on the review, this is what you're going to do. Okay. And every student needs to do this. This is where you are going to have to give me a code reference as well as an answer. Now, Unit 1 is more difficult. Unit 2 should be pretty easy when it comes to code reference because Unit 1 is saying, I want references from maybe the front of the NEC, or maybe I want it from the reading material in Unit 1, which talked about like when NFPA started sponsoring the NEC and things like that. So what would I answer this? If I'm going through this program, I would say this is NEC course material. And I might put in 1911 is when they did it. Now, here's some things. I can go to the NEC just like this. And if I go to the very front of this course material, you'll see the important disclaimers, you'll see information, and you'll see basically some history, okay? The development of the NEC. And you'll look at it and you'll see that the National Fire Protection Association was named as a sponsor of the National Electrical Code since 1911. That's in the NEC. You could have just put NEC front material, whatever. You kind of got to answer. You got to give us a reference, okay, to support your answer. But again, also, at any time, a student, when you're doing these competency tests, you can open up the course book. So over here, you see this blue book. If I click this blue book, it keeps the course content open. It opens up the course book. I can go to Unit 1, scroll down, and you see the purpose, history, the change, formal interpretation, the NEC layout, everything that you would have for these questions are here. So the beginning, okay? You'll see all the information about the beginning. You can look through it while you're sitting here. The purpose, the history, all that information is there. Code changes, we talk about the code change. And here again, you see it's been every 3 years it's adopted. It walks you through all of this information. But what you're going to notice is you have got to interact with the NEC. There is information that is in the NEC as I kind of just scroll through here and let you see the layouts. Okay. You need to interact with the NEC to get your answers. Okay. So while the course material has an awful lot of material, you must interact with your NEC. That's why you're only going to get the answers by interaction. Okay. So here's again, just some history. Everything that you read earlier is all right here. Okay. But in order to answer some of the questions in our program, it assumes that it teaches you how to go from the course material into the National Electrical Code. Where did I get the 1911? I pulled that directly out of the NEC. Okay. You had to go to it. We want to, but is this answer in the NEC? Since 1911, the National Fire Protection Association of Quincy, Massachusetts has been responsible for the maintenance and publication of the NEC. Okay. They're the ones that are been responsible for it. Okay. And the publication. They do all that since 1911. So that's where the answer is. Okay. So the key thing here is you're going to use not just the course material. It's going to teach you the fundamental steps, but it's going to say, look, I'm not giving you everything because I would not have done my mission if I did not teach you to navigate this. So anytime you see those chevrons, you go in here. Anytime you're working these questions, you want to use your course material. You can click the book, blue book on the right of your screen anytime, but you also want to go in and be looking in the NEC. Now, our course is logically laid out. So obviously Unit 1 is dealing with the fundamental information up front of the NEC, history. Unit 2, definitions. So you're obviously going to be in Article 100. Okay. When you're dealing with the other different aspects of it, it's very specific in where you should be. And that's where your answers will be. What we're doing is working you into the code. That's the whole process here. Okay. So let me kind of get rid of that. So once you complete that review, then you do the assessment. I'll give you an idea what assessments look like. Now, once you have this assessment and you start it, this is what it'll look like. And it's very consistent throughout the course when you're doing it, is what organization is responsible for maintenance and publication of the National Electrical Code? Met Labs? No, that's an NRTL. National Electrical Manufacturers Association, NEMA, used to work for NEMA, absolutely has nothing to do with the NEC in that sense. National Fire Protection Association, ding, 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 ding. And of course, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, has nothing to do with the maintenance and publication of the National Electrical Code. These are just assessments to make sure that we're on the same page before you click to the next unit. So systematically move through it. Okay. So depending on whether you're in the 2017 or the 2020, it'll look a little different. The structure might be slightly different because we kind of learn from one cycle to another how I want these things to be. And 2020 is an evolution of 2017. So we're not going to go back and change it, but it's an evolution of how we deliver things. And again, it's just, you're not going to get this anywhere else. Okay. So, and I know I say okay a lot, but anyway, once you select the answer like that, you can check my work, or you can submit for grading at the end, but let's just check my work. And the answer is correct. And there you see right there, and you hold it over it and you'll see where it'll give you a link if you can actually get to it. Sometimes it just doesn't want to pop up. So I guess if you right click, it'll hold it. Then you can come up here and click that, and that'll take you to the course material so you can validate. Okay. So anyway, that's what that's all about. And again, sometimes it's hard to keep it up there. So what I do is I'll right click and then I'll go up and click in the course material. Anyway, that's kind of just the nuances of the program. All right. So anyway, you do all your assessments, and there's even videos. So here's a video, Introduction to Safe Work Practices, Understanding the Code. There's plenty of videos in here. Once you go through and do everything in this unit, you'll also have some drill work. Okay. So when I click on the drill work, it's essentially just the same. Okay. It's more questions to really hone down what you've learned. Okay. What article in NEC deals specifically with lighting systems operating at 30 volts or less? Well, deductive reasoning, right? 517 is healthcare facilities. 220 is calculations, branch for services and feeders and branch calculations. 553 obviously is moving up into special occupancy, things like that. So the answer would be 410. Check my work. And there's your answer. It's correct. Now, if I hover over it, it's just, this one's not giving you any reference. It's just saying, good, you're correct. Okay. But as you go through the program, you will learn these different things. We're testing your knowledge. Okay. So anyway, that's kind of what you go through with the drills. Once you're done, then you can submit for your review and we will grade it, give you feedback. Where do you go to get that feedback? You go down here to your little green circle down here for progress. You click on that and you can see all of our grading and all of our comments to your unit. So that's where you go to check your scores and do everything each time you log into your console. Then you move on to unit 2, do the same exact thing. Do the reading material, do everything in these folders. We'll look at the flashcards, then do your review, answer your questions, always give us a code reference. Very important that you don't leave anything blank. We need to know that you're not guessing. Read the material a couple times before you, don't be in a hurry here. Read the material a couple times before you click that review button because it's important. Remember, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. You have access for an entire year. Speaking of which, I'm going to give you some other things real quick. So once you go through all of this, here's some more videos that you can watch. And again, all the videos in the 2020 is also available at the bottom. So I kind of scroll down. Here's all the important videos that you can watch. They're all basically right here, just some extra ancillary. And sometimes when I do our Zoom training, I'll load them here. Here's the one I did on ranges. Okay. But sometimes I'll also load them within the course material. For example, when we're talking about conductors, all right? So we were talking about conductors in Unit 5 that you'll see in here that you'll have the review material, and under videos, you'll see where I have one of our Wednesday night sessions. Here's my D-Rating Demystified 2.0, which is an update on conductors, ampacity, and adjustment and corrections, conduit, all this type of stuff, all is in there, and we're constantly adding new material in there, okay? So the program is primarily not based on video. It's based on you reading the material because reading comprehension seems to be an area where people struggle with. So I really need you to read the material and then you answer questions because that's going to replicate what you do in an exam. All right. Just watching videos and reading a book is not going to replicate an exam. So we have code questions. Another thing that people come here for. So you go through every unit. Yes, we cover calculations. We cover one family dwelling calcs, multifamily, and commercial building calculations. We cover all the special occupancies, everything that you would have for hazardous locations that you need to know will all be here. But also you get down to our questions. Now, you're always going to watch this one, which is how to identify the root of a question. You watch that video first because that video is going to tell you how you dissect a question. So it's not about answering a question, and I tell this to students all the time. It's not about answering a question in 2 minutes. Yes, for an exam it is, but when you're studying, that's not the goal. The goal is to take the time you need to look at a question and dissect it. Look at all the words. It could be what's called trigger words or key root terms that could get you the answer in this NEC, because you have what's called an index. And in this index, it's not the Holy Grail. But it is very important that you understand what's in it and what's not in it. And so when we tell you to analyze a question, we mean that when you do a question, fundamentally analyze every word to see if you could find the answer in the index. Now, if you answer it and it's wrong, deconstruct the question. Look at the answer and say, well, what in this answer would I have gotten if I had looked it up? And you go through there, and that's kind of a process that subconsciously we're teaching you what is and what's not in the index, okay? So that you fundamentally will learn certain things during test time or in the field. Oh, that's in the index, or that's not in the index, or that wouldn't be in the index, or I already know where that is because I studied it. So you dissect a question. Now, people ask me all the time, what kind of questions do we have in here? All right. And they're not all the best questions in the world, but there's a lot of them. There's over 800 in this database. Overall, there's over 1,200 questions with the competency review questions, and they're the more important ones than these. Okay. These are basically, I don't control these. These are a purchased program that we include. I know that all our competencies are very challenging. Here, there is some of the questions in here that iffy, but the point is they make you think. But the majority of these, if there's 800 questions, there's probably 5 of them in here that I don't like, that I can't change. But there is 795 that are just amazing, and you might see them on an exam. So for an example, if I went into this residential one to kind of give you an idea what it looks like, because I want to kind of share with you what something looks like. So let's kind of go to one. So this is residential, and I've probably done this one, so it'll probably pop up with a little bar saying that I've already answered some of these questions like that right there, but that's okay. You get access. So there's 25 in this test. Okay. You get access to them. Right now we happen to be on 19. So you get this question, and it's going to be very much like you would get on an exam. Very much like it. So 150 kVA single phase transformer, all right, single phase, having a secondary voltage of 122.40 is to be installed at a multifamily building. The approximate current available at the transformer secondary in amps. How would you solve this out? Well, in our case, it's 150 kVA. So we know that that would be K being 1,000. So it's 150,000 VA. And we know since it's a single phase and it's a 122.40 volt secondary, we're using 240. So in our case, it's 150,000, and we're going to divide that by 240, and that equals 625. So that's the answer right here. So we check this answer and we click continue, and you see that is correct. And that's exactly what I did using pure Ohm's law. But there's a lot of these one-step questions that you'll get on an exam, and that's what you're getting in these questions. And it is, people search and pay quite a bit for good test questions, 50 and 60 bucks for even only 100 questions. Look, there's over 1,200 here, whether you do the competency ones, which we expect you to do during the program, or if you do the ones that are in the bundle. There are tons of them there, and you can take these over and over and over again, and they will shuffle them up. Now, what's important for me is during a test time is that you're actually looking at the question and dissecting it, okay? Breaking it down, understanding where I might get these answers to a question. This is an Ohm's law type question, just trade knowledge. And a lot of exams will have a lot of just trade knowledge questions. We teach you those things so that, again, it's just like that. You're like, that's an easy one. That's an easy question. And if that's on a calculation, that's one of the easiest calculations you'll ever get, okay? Now, in a question like this, if it had said 3-phase, and you know that you got to deal with the square root of 3, 1.732, and you had to deal with that, okay? So generally that would be the voltage times 1.732. And that would end up being the value that you use in your calculation between the 150,000 VA divided by that. For example, if it was 208 volts, 3-phase, then it would be 208 times 1.732, which is 360.25. You just use 360, and you divide the 150,000 VA into that 360, and that's going to give you the answer for the secondary, okay? All of that stuff is taught in the program. But my point is, take your time. Look at the question. Don't be in a hurry. Now, when you get down to the end, like the last 2 weeks or so, then you can do these questions, because we have 3 final exams in this program as well that have over 100 questions each. That will allow you then to get your timer on your phone or an egg timer or whatever and say, ready, go, and test yourself. But that comes down the road. Don't feel the pressure. Trust me, this is a program that I've spent a lot of time. It is not just buying a book. It is not just buying a DVD. There's much more here, and you have to understand the concept, and I'm here to help you through it. I also do the Wednesday night where you can bring me any question, and I will break it down for you. Where else do you get that? Okay, so anyway, that's part of the questions, and you have tons of them here that you can do. There's over 20 of those, and of course, you also have the finals. And in these finals, you'll see here, they are not a cakewalk. The average student is 73% on these, not the 85 that I want. So again, they get better because we're only capturing the average score. You want to do these things. And again, only 4%. Look at this. Out of 165 students, only 7 are doing this, which means 2 things. One, they either got their license before the end of the program, or they were spending majority of their time in the practice exams, but they're here for you. Now, this is one core. This might be 165 students. I told you we have 175 for what we call educational pods, if you will. And these students are just not doing these. That's up to them. Again, you're the keeper of your success. Most people focus on the actual course content, and these are all a bonus down here, all these questions if you want them. But I encourage you to use them because that's what they're here for. Okay. So anyway, this is what you've got all through this program. But let me talk about something else. Now, what about our website? Now, if you want to really fundamentally know a structured plan, and that's what we provide, and this is unique to us, you go to our website after you become a member of the Fast Tracks program, go to our website and scroll down the website, and here you'll see quick resource links right here. You see these? This is the Fast Track 60-day study plan, and this is the Fast Tracks 90-day study plan. What you want to do is you want to click on this and you want to download this. Why? Because this is what it is. It is actually our 90-day or our 60-day, depending on which one you do, our study plan. Now, remember, the course is 1 year. These are just study plans. That's all they are. What I'm doing is I'm going to systematically walk you through how you use our course. And if you got to take an exam within 60 days, then at 60 days or more, then you want the 60-day program. I recommend the 90-day. Give me 3 months. Give me that commitment. Follow this plan, and it tells you and walks you through how to do each thing. So if anybody says, I don't know how to use your program, then you're not fundamentally reading all the information that we have there for you, because this tells you how to do it. From the step-by-step checklist, what to do from day 1 to day 70, what to do from day 71 to day 90, okay? What to do from day 80 to 89. It breaks it down and really tries to give you fundamental structure on what you need to do, okay? So again, I really want you to focus on this plan. And again, this kind of goes into a lot of information. Oh, sorry about that. Let me go here in the next page. And it takes you through the time commitments that you need to make. It takes you to the course monitoring, access, and activity. That's what we monitor. It gives you the expectations, what to expect and what not to expect. Okay, skipping around and not following the program. Do not expect to learn. Do not expect a refund if you're not following the program. We don't give refunds anyway, but do not expect it. It's on you. Do not expect to have success without devoting the necessary time to learning the material. Do expect to pass the exam if you dedicate the time and focus to this course material, okay? And we even have an optional guarantee program if you follow all of these rules, because we are committed to your success. But you need to read this form, and this form is free and available for download. I recommend the 90-day at least. Now, some people say, well, I'm not testing for 8 months. Okay. Well, you just don't have to follow this strict, stringent guideline. You can be a little more relaxed in your study periods. But at the end of the day, I recommend people to study like it's a 90-day program. And then if you're taking it, let's say 180 days out or 240 days out, you're just going to be overly ready. But this is a fundamental structure, and I want to give you structure. And that's what people lack most of the time. So this is a download on our website. It's free, and it's for use with our Fast Tracks program. Okay. All right. So I don't know, that pretty much covers the majority of everything that we have. I will talk a little bit about over here on the right. The only ones you're going to use, here's a glossary. Great for terminologies. Great to make flashcards on terminologies. I'll click it to give you an idea what it is. Here you can see anything like what this means. Bathroom, bonded, box-fill. Also, when you're doing the reviews for definitions in chapter unit 2, you can literally come in here and get this information, copy it, and paste it in your review if you need to. Okay, all of this is interchangeable for you to be able to work it. There's no excuses for getting the answers right and really focusing on the course material. That's the some glossary terms. This is the course book. At any time, even during the competency reviews or even during the practice exams, you can open up the course book right here if you want it. This is your study hub. This is where all of your highlights are going to be, your bookmarks, things like that. This is called Read Speaker. This changes the speed of the reading, the cadence, if you will. If you have the ballistic training where it reads the information to you, that's where you're going to change the speed. You just click on this and you'll get a pop-up and you can change the speed or the voice, whether it's a male or female, that type of thing. And then you got the flashcards down here. That's a lot of flashcards to test your knowledge, and you can jump whatever unit you're working in. Like if I was dealing with cables, okay, the identification of the grounded conductor, you click on it, white or gray, okay? You go to the next card. Wiring method allowed in ducts used to transport dust. None can do that, okay? So 300.22, all those type of things. Next, minimum distance from the edge of a stud for bored holes, and that's from the bored hole to the edge of the stud. You and I know that it's 1.25 inches, but here you go. You flip it, 1.25 inches. You can make flashcards on anything, and I'll give you a tip. When I'm making flashcards, I make all of my flashcards under Unit 1. So down here, you'll see that it says create a flashcard. So if I want to create flashcard, I want to do one on branch circuits. Then I would go down here and I'd put article 210, 210. And then down here, I would go branch circuits, okay? And then I would save it. So I create, and you can create any number you want, because remember what I said, repetition is the key. Do one for every article. Do one for every important table, okay? That I can click on this, article 210, branch circuits. I could do that with 430 for motors. I can do that for 220 for service sizing and feeder sizing. I can do it for part 3 or part 4 for optional method. I can do whatever I want. 250 for grounding and bonding. Anything I want. I can put 250.122 for equipment grounding conductor sizing. However I want to do it, you can create flashcards. Take 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your day just doing flashcards. You're going to really start to see it change, and they're included in the program. You can make as many as you want on anything that you want, okay? So there you go. That's all in there. So look, this kind of come back to me at this point. Look, our program gives you all the tools. It does. It is going to give you what you need to learn the NEC. It's going to give you what you need to create flashcards, to really hone those skills at understanding what the articles are, what the subdivisions are, what important tables are, all those things that are critically important to your success right there at your fingertips. You've had the README feature, ballistic, okay? You have the study plan that we give you. If you follow it, you'll be successful. You also have our Wednesday night sessions that you can come and visit. I also record those so you can watch them later. You get access to all of that for the one price. That's it. No additional costs, not trying to upsell you anything. Everything's included. So look, if you want to be successful at getting your license, and someday maybe even becoming a CMECP, Certified Master Electrical Code Professional, you need to learn the NEC, and we have the solution. Stop spending $1,200, $1,500 in books. Stop spending $600, $700 in weekend cram courses that are only going to be something you forget later. Stop spending $150, $200 in books with nothing but questions. It's all in here. You can print out whatever you want. You can print the questions out in a competency review and work on them later. You can upload them through the system. You can print the graphics. You can take it with you on your phone. Okay, it uses a standard browser. Doesn't matter whether it's a Android or an iPhone. It doesn't matter. It's all at your fingertips, and we're excited to bring it to you. So hopefully you got something out of that, folks. Until next time, stay safe and God bless.
Shut up and sit down.